So let us start with experiment number 7. This is the last experiment in the simulation and synthesis category, because later on we will have actual interfacing experiments where we will be connecting the FPGA kit to the computer and downloading the bit file and then implementing the design. So today's experiment is design 4-bit binary and BCD counters. Again, in binary we will have synchronous reset and asynchronous reset, and in BCD again we will have synchronous reset and asynchronous reset, and lastly we have any sequence counter. As you already know, counter is electronic hardware, and we are dealing with 4-bit counter today. For the counters, always the input signal is the clock signal itself. So let us see how to implement synchronous reset and asynchronous reset. In the previous class, I had shown you by clubbing the reset and the passage clock in one always block sensitivity list, how simulation happened and how during synthesis it gave an error. So today we will have to use different method for having a synchronous reset and asynchronous reset. Let us see that. First, let me come to the binary counter with the synchronous reset. Let me discuss the VHDL program. Library IEEE, use IEEE Standard Logic 1164, then use IEEE Standard Logic unsigned, because we are going to have a counter code later on. Entity, clock and reset are input ports. Count is declared as a buffer with the vector of 4 bits. It is declared as a buffer because in VHDL, if at all we declare it as output, output cannot come at the RHS of a statement. Whereas here we are going to use this count even in the RHS. That is why here it is declared as buffer. Similar to the in-out in Verilog. And then architecture process where we have reset and clock. If rising edge of the clock, then if reset is 1, then count is 0. Now you can see this is a synchronous counter, means reset is dependent on clock. In the rising edge of the clock, if reset is 1, then count is reset, means 0, 0, 0, 0. Else count is assigned to count plus 1. Now you can see this count variable is there in the left hand side also, in the right hand side also. That is why it is declared as a buffer. And if and end process, that's all. This is a simple program in VHDL. Now there's a test bench code in VHDL. Let us come to Verilog program. Module synchronous binary counter, where clock, reset and count 3 IO signals are defined or declared. Clock and reset are input, output is register 4-bit count. Always at passage clock, begin, if reset is 1, then count is assigned to 4-bit 0, else count is assigned to count plus 1. Here you can see we have declared count as count plus 1, both at LHS and RHS. Still this will work. Verilog will work here. It is not necessary that we have to declare it using in-out. So end module. In this way, we have this Verilog program. Now let me show you the execution. We have the test bench code here, where we have to define clock in the Verilog test bench. Then we can apply this stimulus like this. Now let me start sharing my screen itself. So let me come to Xilinx ISC, where I have already copied this code and I have already checked the syntax. Now let me apply a test bench. New source, Verilog test fixture. Let me call it as SBC underscore test.v. So it has created a test bench where now we have to add stimuli. We have to add stimuli Here, as it is a counter, no need to add more stimuli, just giving reset and then making reset 0. But now we have to add clock. Let me add the clock code here. Okay, that is just for beauty. Now let me save it. And let us check syntax the test bench. And let me simulate the test bench. So you can see the output here. Let me zoom in. Yeah, now you can see the output here. Initially, when reset was 0, output of the counter was unknown. You are seeing XXXX, even though clock was there. Then in the next rising edge of the clock, reset has become 1. And then output has become 0000. Reset has remained 1 for some time. Later on, you can see next rising edge of the clock. Now reset has become 0. So every rising edge of the clock, it is checking whether reset is 1 or 0. Now reset is 0, so it started counting 0001, 0010, like that it has gone. And up after 1111, it is becoming again 0000 because it is a 4-bit counter. And this is how the output waveform is visible to you. So let me come back and let me synthesize now. So this is the RTL schematic now. You can see inside the RTL schematic, there is one block here and there is one more small block here. And our clock is there, reset is there, and this Q is coming back here to this block, but we are unable to see what is there inside this block. It is working like a counter, that is what we can see. So let us see the technology schematic. Now in the technology schematic, you can see even though our code was so small, the hardware is so big. Where there is a buffer here, there is one LUT, and there is one more flip-flop here, one more flip-flop, one more flip-flop. So in the technology schematic, it is showing many things in detail. Let me open this LUT2, where you will see this A bar B plus AB bar, it is an XOR gate. And in LUT3, you can see a circuit, a logic circuit. And again, there is one more LUT4 here. And there is one more logic circuit. Now using these logic circuits and using these 4 flip-flops, you can see these 4 flip-flops. Let me zoom in to show you those flip-flops. It is basically a D flip-flop with the reset, with the clock, with the D and with the Q. So in the FPGA's hardware, already D flip-flop is defined and is available. Using 4 flip-flops for 4 bits, it is implementing a 4-bit counter. Okay, and each counter's output it is using for respective LUT for the counting logic itself. So this is the technology schematic. Even then the RTL schematic, this D flip-flop is there, but it is simply shown as a 4-bit bus there. Okay. So this is how I have shown you the synthesis of synchronous binary counter. So let us proceed with the next experiment. Now, counter with asynchronous reset means reset will be superseding clock. Reset is not dependent on clock. Let us see the VHDL code. Other things are same. Now you can see in the architecture, if reset is 1, then count is assigned to 0. Else if rising edge of the clock, then count is assigned to count plus 1. So you can see here, first reset is checked and then the rising edge is checked inside the process. It is that rising edge is not there in the sensitivity list. In this way, we can slightly modify the program. Let me show you the Verilog program now. Module ABC underscore M, that is asynchronous binary counter, always at passage reset and passage clock. Now you can compare the VHDL program with the Verilog program. VHDL is slightly more flexible there. But here in Verilog, we have to give this passage reset. I had shown you earlier, if at all I simply give reset here, the synthesis tool will not take it. Because synthesis tool will say, mixed type of edge triggering and level triggering is not permitted. That is why in Verilog, we have to use this passage reset also. Now both are edge triggered, so the synthesis tool will not give any error here. But however, you can see if reset count is assigned to 0, 0, 0, 0. That means in the positive edge of the reset, anyhow reset is going to be 1. So the counter will be reset to 0. Else if clock, then if clock is 1, then count is assigned to count plus 1. But anyhow in the always block we have given passage reset and passage clock. So let me copy this code to the Xilinx ISC. Let me close the simulation window. Let me copy this here. And let me save it. So let me check syntax. Now let me add a test bench. Let me remove the old test bench. Verilog test fixture. Now let me write asynchronous binary counter dot v underscore test. Let me give underscore test dot v. So first is clock code. We can add it anywhere. Here also we can add. We can indent for the sake of uniformity. Then let us add stimuli. Stimulus is only the reset. So let me simulate the behavioral model. So now you can see, let me zoom in to show you the output. Now here reset has gone high, so it has become 0. Now reset has gone low. When reset has gone low, in the next rising edge of the clock, counting has started. From 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, counting has started. Now, how do we ensure that this reset is asynchronous or synchronous? How do we ensure? Because this is occurring at the rising edge only. So let us try to change the value. Let me give it as, instead of 100, let me give it as 90. We have to close the simulation window. So Check syntax once again and simulation. So now you see reset has gone low in between the clock pulse here, and then here reset is low in the next positive edge of the clock. Reset is low. Let me do one thing. Let me reduce this also, right? Because here also positive edge is overlapping. So let us change it. So this wait for 100 nanoseconds, that 100, let me make it as 9. So here you can see reset is asynchronous because when reset has gone high, output has become 0. Reset is not dependent on clock. So now this is a asynchronous binary counter. So let me close this window. Let us proceed with the synthesis now. We don't need the test bench now. You can see the RTL schematic, but in the RTL schematic, as I have told you earlier, we will be seeing only some blocks and we will not be able to exactly understand the logic there. So let me open the technology schematic. So in the technology schematic, now you can see again one flip-flop, one more, and you can see 3 LUT. In this LUT, you can see again XOR gate. And in this LUT, you will see some logic circuit. In this LUT also, you will see some logic circuit. But compared to the previous synthesis of synchronous counter, now here reset is asynchronous. So how it takes care of it is, how is it indicated? So reset is here, that reset is coming through a buffer, it is again coming to the flip-flop. Only through these respective logics, it has to take care of that. So as such, it has produced a hardware here for a asynchronous binary counter. So now let us proceed with the next code. BCD counter. As you already know, BCD is binary coded decimal. So in BCD, we count from 0 till 9. So let us see the logic there. In the VHDL program, you can see begin, process, reset, clock, begin. If rising edge of the clock, we are going for a synchronous binary counter. If reset is 1 or count is 1001, then count is made as 0000. Means if the count value is becoming 1001 is 9, right? In the next rising edge of the clock, count will become 0. Else count is assigned to count plus 1. So that is how we are implementing a BCD counter. Same logic with Verilog. You can see if reset is 1 or if count is 1001, then count is assigned to 0000, else count is count plus 1. So let me copy this code to the Xilinx ISE. Let me remove the old test bench and check syntax for this code. This is a synchronous BCD counter. Now let us add a test bench. sbcd underscore test dot v underscore test. So as usual, we have to add the clock code and the stimuli. You can define this clock anywhere in the code because it is all concurrent module. So now you can see it is a BCD counter, BCD synchronous counter. You can see it is working at the positive edge of the clock only. Here at the positive edge of the clock, it has become 0001, it has gone up to 1001, and here you can see after it becomes 1001, it has become 0000. That means this counter is going to count only 10 clock pulses, then it is coming back. So let me try to synthesize this. In the RTL schematic, you will see again that flip-flop with the 4-bit output and with an OR gate and with some other logic gate here. Two inputs are complemented, two inputs are taken as it is. Let us come to technology schematic. Here you can see more blocks. Earlier we had 3 LUTs, now we have 4 LUTs. Along with the same 4 flip-flops. This is one, this is one, this is one, and this is one. 4 flip-flops, but with additional logic here. You can see this one logic. One more bigger logic. This is LUT 5 with 5 inputs. Then one more LUT 4, 4 inputs. Then this LUT 5, 5 inputs. Because counter needs to be reset when the next rising edge clock comes and when the previous output was 1001. So additional logic is required. So this is the BCD counters synthesis, synchronous BCD counter. Let's proceed with the asynchronous reset BCD counter. In the VHDL program, you can see begin process reset and clock begin. If reset is 1, then count is 0. Else if rising edge of the clock, then count. If count is 1001, then count is assigned to 0. Else count will be count plus 1. So you can see here the reset comes first and the rising edge clock comes next. This is in VHDL. What about in Verilog? In Verilog, as usual, we cannot mix two types of signals inside the sensitivity list. So both are now positive edge. But here you can see if reset is 1, then count is 0. Else if clock is 1, then if count is 1001, count is 0. Else count is count plus 1. It is the same logic. Let me copy this code into our simulation window. And let me remove the test bench and create a new test bench. This is now asynchronous BCD counter underscore test.v. So now clock and then stimuli. If we change the timings purposefully to check the edges there, because we want to ensure this is asynchronous. So let me make it 90 nanoseconds for both cases. So you can see this has remained BCD here. After 1001, it has become 0000. But let us see. You can see when reset has become 1, output has become 0, and it is now asynchronous. Here also you can see it is asynchronous. But exactly I did not change it here somewhere. Yeah. So I'll have to change it now. Let me change it. Let me make it as 8. So you can see now both the edges of reset, positive edge as well as negative edge, both are not coinciding with the clock edges. So now only in the next positive edge of the clock, it is changing. Okay, reset has become 0 here. So in the positive edge of the clock only it is checking whether reset is 1 or 0. But here, when the reset has become 1, it is immediately becoming 0. So reset is now asynchronous. That is proved here. Let us see the hardware implementation. Not exactly implementation, it is only the synthesis output. So as such in the RTL schematic, we will not be able to make out much. But you can see there are these additional blocks. One adder, one multiplexer, and D flip-flop along with one gate are there. Let us see the technology schematic. Again, in the technology schematic, you can see there are 3 LUTs and 4 D flip-flops. In our previous synchronous case, we had 4 LUTs. In this case, we have only 3 LUTs, but the logic circuits are different. You can see that. So it has accordingly developed the logics for implementing a asynchronous BCD counter. We have already seen these outputs. Now I am coming to the last code of today's class. That is any sequence counter. Any sequence means, in general, we require random number generators many times, right? Many times in our communication systems or in software systems, There are applications where random numbers are required. For example, many times OTPs get generated. For so many apps, OTP is getting generated. From where this OTP is coming? Inside the system, there will be a random number generator. Now that random number will be sent to you and it will be valid only for next 3 minutes or 5 minutes or sometimes 10 minutes, depending upon how they set that time. So why it is valid? So the system will remember that it has generated this random number, but that OTP is basically a random number and it can reset that particular output after about 5 minutes or 10 minutes, so to say. Then system can generate the same random number again also. So how the system generates these random numbers? There will be some code written to generate such random numbers. Similarly here, we have a counter which is any sequence counter. Means we can write a code for a counter where it will start with 0, then it will go to 8, then it will go to 5, then it will come to 13, then it will come to 7 in this way. Now this is like a random number. There is no plan in deciding what must be the next output. So there can be such randomized applications which are quite useful, especially in the field of cryptography, network security. These are useful. Actually, OTP is what? OTP is part of a network security itself, right? The one-time password which you receive on your mobile is basically part of network security to keep your data secure. So in such cases, such random number generator codes are useful. Here, instead of this random number, we are just showing you any sequence counter. Now the sequence can be any combination of these. Now let us say if it is 0, 8, 5 and 7, excluding this 13 because 13 comes as hexadecimal in our case. If it is simply 0, 8, 5, 7, then it can be one OTP itself. Sometimes we can have passwords, temporary passwords, which are having alphanumeric also or text also. We can write Verilog codes for generating such text also. But however, in this program, we are showing any sequence counter. Let me show you the logic here. If rising edge of the clock, then if reset is 1, then count is 0, 0, 0, 0. So this is a synchronous any sequence counter. Else case count is, you can see when count is 0, 0, 0, 0, count is assigned to 1, 0, 0, 0. What happens here? Initially count will be reset. It is 0, 0, 0, 0. Next is 1, 0, 0, 0. So this is now 8. And we are saying if rising edge of the clock. That means it's a synchronous counter now. So in the next rising edge of the clock, 0 becomes 8. Now 0 has become 8. Again, one more rising edge clock occurs. Next when it is 8, if reset has not occurred, then the next count is 0, 1, 0, 1. This is 3. It goes on like this. Next output is 3, and when the next rising edge of the clock occurs, count is assigned to 13. You can see this is now 12 plus 1, 13. In the next rising edge of the clock, it is 7. In the next rising edge of the clock, it is 0. In that way, we have now 8 and 3, 13, 7, 0. So totally, this will keep on repeating now. Again, when count has become 0, 0, 0, 0, count is again 1, 0, 0, 0. This will keep on repeating. If at all you want to have some other combination instead of 0, what you can do? You can simply add one more assignment statement here, where you give the first count value. Then keep on giving that value here. Instead of 0, 0, 0, 0, give that value which you have assigned to the signal count. So it is not necessary that your sequence should contain 0 also. It can contain any other number. Here in our case, it is only 4-bit. So it can go from 0 till 15. In the hexadecimal case, it can go from 0 till F. So this is the logic, and I have shown you the VHDL program. Let me go to Verilog program. It is the same logic here. Now it is a synchronous counter. So always at passage clock, if reset count is 0, else you can see when count is 0, count is assigned to 8, then 3, then 13, then 7, then 0. This is the example which we have taken. So let me copy this code. Let me add a test bench. It is any sequence counter underscore test. So let me remove this and let me add this line inside the initial block. Let us simulate. So now you can see this is a synchronous counter. In the positive edge of the clock, reset is high, then again reset is low. In the positive edge of the clock, then when reset is low, it has started counting from 0 to 8 to 3 to 13 to 7, then 0, 8, 3, 13, 7. In this way it goes on. So this is the simulation output of synchronous counter. Sorry, any sequence counter which is synchronous. Let us come to implementation. As such, you will not make out much here, right? Now this is RTL schematic where you will see one OR gate and you will see one counter, but the counter's output is 4-bit only. You will see some strange conventions of RTL. Now let me come to technology schematic. In the technology schematic, let me zoom out. You can see one D flip-flop here, and then one more, then you will see one LUT. You will see one more D flip-flop, you will see one more D flip-flop, you will see one LUT. Why these many flip-flops? Because we have those many sequences. And you can see this LUT circuit, this LUT circuit, it is one OR gate, this is again 3-input OR gate. So you can see this flip-flop output is coming to one more flip-flop, which is again controlled by a signal here. So this is the technology schematic for any sequence counter synchronous. So in this way, you can make this any sequence counter asynchronous also using the same logic, but we have not listed it here. In this way, we have seen 5 counter programs here: asynchronous and synchronous, binary and BCD, and at the end, any sequence counter. So with that, I have come to the end of today's lab class from my side. You can write the observation book for today and you can upload into the Google class. But this meeting will be on. I will stop recording.